Imagine a world where the sails crossing the Atlantic weren't European, they were Chinese. It's the early 1400s, and the great fleets of the Ming Dynasty, commanded by the legendary Admiral Zheng He, don't stop at the Indian Ocean or the African coasts. Instead, they push farther west, driven by curiosity and ambition, until they land on the shores of what is now North America. The world as we know it is erased. The United States never exists. The course of human history is rewritten forever. When Zheng He's massive treasure ships first anchor off the coast of what we now call Virginia, the native tribes are mesmerized. Towering vessels, unlike anything they've seen, carrying silk, porcelain, and spices, arrive like celestial beings descending from the heavens. But the Ming Dynasty isn't here to conquer, not yet. They establish trade, offering goods in exchange for food, gold, and knowledge of the land. The Chinese don't slaughter the natives like Europeans would centuries later. Instead, they assimilate them into their vast, hierarchical empire, spreading their language, philosophy, and technology across the continent. Over decades, settlements grow. The eastern seaboard becomes a sprawling network of Chinese colonies, interconnected by roads and canals. Native tribes, once independent, are absorbed into the empire's bureaucratic structure. They are taught Confucian values, Mandarin language, and Chinese agriculture techniques. The Great Plains become rice paddies. The forests of the Midwest are cleared for tea plantations. Buffalo herds are managed like livestock. The Americas are no longer wild. They are a new frontier for Chinese civilization. By the 1500s, the Ming Dynasty has solidified its control over the continent. The indigenous peoples have been woven into the fabric of the empire, but not without rebellion. Some tribes resist assimilation, retreating into the mountains and deserts, where they wage guerrilla warfare against Chinese troops. But the empire is relentless. Their armies trained in the art of discipline and strategy crush resistance with precision. Native leaders are captured and brought to Beijing as trophies, their fates sealed in imperial courts. Meanwhile, Europe is left in the dust. Columbus never set sail. The Spanish never claim gold from the Aztecs. The British never establish colonies. Instead, Europe watches from afar as China grows richer and more powerful, its American territories feeding an empire that spans half the globe. European kingdoms, desperate to compete, scramble for scraps in Africa and the Middle East, but it's not enough. China's dominance is absolute. By the 1700s, the Americas are unrecognizable. Massive cities rise where forests once stood, built in the style of Beijing, with pagodas and imperial palaces. The Mississippi River becomes a bustling trade route, lined with ports exporting silk and porcelain to the rest of the empire. The native tribes, though diminished, still play a role in society. Some have become governors, scholars, and military leaders, proving their loyalty to the emperor. Others live as second-class citizens, struggling to preserve their traditions in a world that demands conformity. Technology advances rapidly. The Chinese invent steam engines centuries before Europe, using coal from the Appalachian Mountains to power factories and trains. The Industrial Revolution begins in Asia, not Europe, and the Americas are its crown jewel. Railroads stretch from coast to coast, connecting colonies from New York, renamed Xinjiang, to California, Jinshan. The Pacific Ocean becomes an imperial highway, linking America directly to China's heartland. And what of democracy? It never takes root. The United States, as we know it, is erased from history. There is no Declaration of Independence, no Constitution, no Bill of Rights. The ideals of freedom and equality are replaced with Confucian hierarchy and obedience to the emperor. The concept of the people is replaced with the collective. Individualism dies before it can be born. By the 1800s, the Chinese empire is unrivaled. Its American territories fuel its dominance, providing endless resources and manpower. Europe, weakened and fragmented, struggles to stay relevant. The global language becomes Mandarin. The global currency is the yuan. The center of the world shifts permanently to Asia. But there are consequences. The vast empire becomes too large to manage. Corruption spreads like wildfire. Rebellions rise not just in America, but across China itself. The natives, who were once assimilated, begin to rediscover their identities, forming underground movements to reclaim their land and culture. The empire fractures under its own weight, and revolution brews on every horizon. The question is no longer how China discovered America. It's whether it can hold on to it. The world teeters on the edge of chaos, and the fate of this alternate history hangs in the balance. If this bold what-if scenario made your imagination race, there's so much more to explore. Join us on the What If Wave channel for thrilling journeys into alternate histories, hidden truths, and daring possibilities. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. You won't want to miss our next adventure into the unknown.